This is our new organ from a donor, and we received this organ on for Christ the King in 2018, and it's from an anonymous donor. And we are so very grateful that we were able to have the instrument that's really worthy of this beautiful church and this amazing parish. So I'm grateful to have it, and I want to take a minute just to walk you through it because I haven't had an opportunity to show you. This is the organ, and it kind of looks like a spaceship, and it's a little intimidating. But what I want to show you is these are called draw knobs, and they are stops. And each stop represents an instrument. So I basically have an entire orchestra at my disposal. So I will show you. So this is the trumpet. This is the festival trumpet, and you see it says sanct. It's for the sanctuary. So this trumpet actually comes out of that speaker behind the crucifix. So I'm going to show you this. That's the trumpet, affectionately known as the pastor blaster, because it's right behind.
So I can see you better.
Right, it's right behind the pastor's chair, and so for weddings, sometimes it comes as a bit of a surprise when that loud trumpet comes out. But I have other. Speaking of our pastor, I have another beautiful stop that I want to show you about. I'll give you a little preview as to what hymn we're going to use it for. So Father Romans loves the clarinet stop. And again, so these are the names of the divisions of the organ. So the choir is this lower keyboard, and that's where I'm using my solo instrument stops. And that actually comes out of that speaker, unless it says sanctuary, then it comes behind the crucifix. The swell is this keyboard, this instrument list.
Which keyboard again? Sorry.
So it's this top keyboard, this instrument list, and it comes out of that speaker. Okay?
And none of the organ sound actually comes out of the church speakers where we hear sound, right? Just these two speakers back here and
there's one behind the crucifix. Yep. So there's three speakers, and correct, it does not actually come through the sound system unless you are attending the 10:30 live stream mass in person, and we have to mic the organ so that the people on the live stream can hear it, and at that point it actually is coming out of the speakers in the church too. So I'm showing you the clarinet. I'm going to play the clarinet on this keyboard, which is called the choir manual. And if I want to duet, then I can play two notes at a time there. But if I want anything else to go with it, I kind of have to play some of the other things. So this is the pedal division. There's actually a keyboard down here that I play with my feet extremely carefully. And I have special organ shoes with a leather sole so that I can slide my foot across the pedals. And most of the time you play with both your toe and your heel on both feet. So for this, let's see, if I'm way up here, then I'm gonna have to skip. So your heel toe is when you need to skip a note. And you want it to be legato, you want it to be connected because this is a very smooth song. So if I did like this, it would not be connected. That's like Baroque music. And then I use, if it's together, I can use two different feet. So I'll do a little bit of this. So this is What Child Is This with the clarinet soloed out in the melody, and I'm going to use my hand and my feet for everything else. I have different keyboards is so that I can more effectively use the different instruments. So one can be a solo and one can be backup. We do that with the chimes. I don't actually think I have Silent Night in here, but I usually use Silent Night for the chimes, or O Come, O Come Emmanuel. You've heard all during Advent, you've heard O Come, O Come Emmanuel. Whoops, we gotta take some things off. So I forgot to take off the clarinet. So what you just heard is the chimes and the clarinet playing at the same time. So we're gonna take that off, and so all you hear is chimes.
So you can put multiple instruments at the same time on one keyboard.
Yep, so if I wanted to do clarinet and flute, I could do that. Now the clarinet is overpowering the flute a little bit, so if I want, we can add more flute. So I can add all my flutes.
So that's how you control how loud the mix.
Yes, if
Because
you
not all of them have multiple. So flute has multiple.
right.
Because it's a
Flute is like a foundational stop on the organ, so you have strings, which is what I was playing up here. It's a kind of a warm sound. And then we have flutes, which can be added to that. Let's take the clarinet. Whoops, wrong key. So that's a nice flute sound, right? Okay, so then we have reeds, like the oboe is a reed and the bassoon is a reed. So this is going to be really loud. And then you have trumpet. So I can play the trumpet like that too. In fact, I'm going to skip because let's move into Christmas. Since this is a Christmas concert, let's move into Christmas. So we can do so what have you not heard? So we have the trumpet, we have reeds, the oboe and the bassoon. Clarion is a type of trumpet. So let's so that's a little higher. So here's an acoustics thing. In real pipe organs, the standard length of a pipe organ is 8 feet. So if you want it to be an octave higher, it's the 4 foot. So you divide, if you want it to be an octave higher, divide the length of the pipe in half. If you want it to be an octave lower, then you divide, you multiply the pipe times 2 and you get a 16 foot. So I can give you, so this is the 8 foot trumpet. This is the 4 foot clarion. It's an octave higher, but I'm playing it at the same place on the keyboard.
Oh, that's the 4 and the 8. Okay.
Yep.
So that's the.
So I can turn this one off. But so this is the 8. But I'm using the same place in the keyboard, and when I turn it on to the 4, it's an octave higher. And if I want it to be really low, I turn it on. So this will sound an octave lower. So I really do have a whole orchestra. And this is the 32 foot is the really loud sound. It's really loud. We only use it very occasionally.
And there are no pipes here.
Correct. So this is a Walker digital organ. Father Romans and I wanted the sound of a pipe organ, but we also wanted to use the donation wisely. It was a very generous donation, and we wanted to make sure that we use the donation in a way that it actually met the need of our parish. So we decided on this Walker digital organ, and you can see right here, it's the voices on the organ are digitally produced Aeolian Skinner voices. This is a pipe organ maker. So this organ maker, Walker, went in and digitally sampled every single note on the organ in every single one of these instruments from a pipe organ. So again, it is the perfect instrument for our parish, and I am extremely grateful to our donor. And it's a pleasure to play this organ every week. And I've learned a lot about the organ having something that's so intricate and so beautiful. It makes me want to practice more and learn how to use all of the different components of the organ so that I can be the best organist for the best organ. So I've really grown a lot just in a year since we had this organ. So I want to make sure I can use everything. Oh, here's one more fun thing. Let's see if I can find it. So at the Easter Vigil, when the Gloria comes back the first time, we ring the bells. So we ring the altar bells, but there's also, if you come around this way, there's a bell stop on the organ, the Zimmelstern. So it's a little tinkly bell.
Huh. And it just plays, are you doing something with your feet or no?
No, not at all. It just plays. And so if I wanted to have that going, it's a little soft to have it going while I do a big organ piece, but it would go. And it'll just go till I turn it off.
And would an organ have something like that, or is that?
Yes, it actually is a for real stop on the organ, and it's a round thing that rotates, and so that's why when I turn it on, when I turn it off, you might hear one last little ding before it actually stops.
Oh, okay. So it's trying to emulate it slowing down.
Right, it's rotating, and it might just get, after you're like, oh, it's done. It's like, nope, not quite, and this is what I love about this organ. If I do the chimes, I might be done with I really wish I could find Silent Night. I might be done with my piece, but I think I left it in the office. So I might be done. So I might be done. But the chimes, the chime is still reverberating. It's not done. So even though there are no actual chimes or there's no actual bells up here, it's still an almost humorously precise replication of the actual instrument inside the organ. It's really cool.
Difficult to truly replicate an organ, right? You think it was easy. Oh, it's just a note. No, it's not. There's a whole lot more to it.
It's extremely complicated, the process they had to go through to, again, sample the sound of every single note of every single stop. And again, my husband is a music director at St. Catherine in Trumbull, and he has a 4th manual, and he has even more stops and even more bells and whistles. And again, just that they were able to replicate all of these sounds for us. So I'm delighted.
So if someone had an organ with pipes, I won't say a real organ because this is a real organ, would it look the same? If they were to sit down here, they would be able to play this? Is it?
Yes.
What's different? Like, are there these buttons under here? Or?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, well, 2 different questions. Let's go to your first question. Yes, this is called the console. See, it's CONSOLE. And yes, you could take this console and hook it up to a pipe organ, and it would be exactly the same thing. Some people have a preference. Some people's personal preference is for these, instead of them being draw knobs, they're a little switch that you flip. So these switches, which are too complicated to get into right now, but it makes the sound. So if the sound is assigned to this, but I want it to come to this one too, I can flip the choir to great stop. So if I want the clarinet here, I hope this works. So, but if I don't do the choir to great, it's not up here. So the choir, this flips.
And great has no stops pulled out, which is why you're not hearing anything?
Correct. So there's nothing pulled on the great, only the clarinets on the choir.
Right.
But if I flip this choir to great stop, it's up here now. So that just helps me bring the sounds where I need them. But some people prefer this style here because they don't want to have to pull while they're playing a big piece. They don't want to have to go through that action. They just want to be able to flip it. So, but yeah, so other than that, those are the 2 variations that any organ, digital or pipe organ, could have. And
a pipe organ would have those?
Yes, pipe organ would have these. These are called couplers. So it brings the sound from one to the other so that they can both have it. That's how it's coupled. I'm trying to think. So the only thing that my digital organ has that a pipe organ would not have is a transposer. So especially when I'm working with our youth for like the school mass. So like Hark, we've been doing Hark the Herald Angels Sing. It has a really wide range, and some of these might be too high for children or especially for older boys. So I can take this down. Oops, I'll tell you what these are now. So this is like an orchestra, and I'm choosing which instruments I want. My wonderful husband has preset these for me so that it's in crescendo order. Crescendo means it gets louder and louder. So okay. So, but what the transposer does, let's show you the transposer is it can turn the pitch up or down without me having to move my hands, that's the really important part. So if we wanted a kid with a lower voice to be able to go, rather than having to sing way high. Might be a little too high. So I can transpose that. And again, I'm learning. The organ is my last instrument that I have learned in my life. And so I am learning how to transpose because some of our more contemporary things that I do with the piano does not have a transposer. So I'm learning how to transpose, but it is super convenient just to turn the button to transpose.
And what are these? There are some bars.
Oh, yes. So the volume of the organ is controlled by these pedals. They're called expression pedals because they get louder. And if you see, it has the same name of the keyboard. So this pedal that says choir is for this keyboard that says choir. This pedal that says swell is for this keyboard that says swell, and the pedal that says sanctuary. Interesting. So the sanctuary, yeah. So I just said that backwards. All right, so let's try this again. So the choir is for the keyboard that says choir. The great keyboard is not under expression, which means that on a real organ, there would be a chamber of the organ that you cannot make it louder or softer, because in a pipe organ, there are pipes. And this pedal would be to open and close shutters.
Changing the amount of airflow through the pipes?
That more like it closets in the sound.
Oh.
So you're closing doors or shutters, that's what they're called, to close in the sound. You enclose the room. But so if you did, that's an interesting question. If you change the airflow, it changes the pitch. So the airflow through the pipe has to be at a constant speed to have a constant pitch. So, but yeah, so but the grate is not on a pipe organ. The grate are the ones that are exposed in the church that you can see. And so it would just be the sanctuary division or the swell division that would actually be enclosed in a closet that you could open and close the shutters for. So that's why I just made a mistake just now, because I'm like, oh yeah, this one to this and this one to this, and that's not exactly the way it works. So the sanctuary speaker is under expression. So which means if I want to do my pastor blaster, I can be compassionate, and I can let's make sure. So this actually, I don't know if you can see this over here. It says festival trumpet enclosed. So if traditionally the festival trumpet is not enclosed, it is the only, so most pipes are vertical. It usually is a trumpet shaped pipe that is horizontal, sticking out from the wall. So if I want, though, they've done a really nice thing for Father Romans, and if I want to enclose it, I guess electronically, then it is under expression under the sanctuary. Whoops, that's a crescendo pedal. The sanctuary pedal, okay? So
as you're moving those pedals, okay, so it's
so the
changing
light, I love this because also my pipe organs that I played in the past never had lights because you don't really know how wide this is open until you start playing and then it's too late and you've frightened people. So I often, during the middle of Mass, will go back and forth and then you have to kind of guess where the middle is. But this one will tell me this is as soft as it goes and this is as loud as it goes. So we will play, I'll play one note on the trumpet and I'll show you how loud it can go.
Oh, wow.
And that's how loud it is from up here.
And that's coming from the sanctuary.
That's coming from the sanctuary behind the crucifix.
Oh.
So if I have that open all the way, or if I forget to hit this under enclosure, then it is really loud and scary.
Yeah, you might not be able to
people
appreciate on the recording how loud that was, but that was, even up here, extremely loud.
It's pretty loud. So that's what the
so
pedals
a
do.
pipe organ would still have these pedals, it just wouldn't have those indicators to tell you.
I don't think so. Now they might be making fancy schmancy new pipe organs that have the indicators, but yeah, so it would have the pedals, but only a couple of manuals or a couple divisions of pipes. So if you think about a division, it's just some pipes that are divided off. So the grate is usually
see your face.
The grate is usually the pipes that are visible. That's usually that division of pipes. So then you might have a sanctuary division. So you might actually have pipes behind the crucifix. Or like in Protestant churches, you know, they have the choir behind their altar and then they will have the pipes above that. Or even at St. Thomas Becket has a sanctuary division right above the music area. So, and then the swell, which is up here with me, and it would be in a closet.
So these keyboard names, and again, forgive my ignorance.
No.
These names refer to where the pipes would physically be located.
Correct.
The choir.
Correct.
Grate, and then the sanctuary. Okay, that I didn't realize that the names corresponded.
Can I just say, you were going to say forgive your ignorance, but can I just say that this whole time, I've been like, yeah, but what is the choir division? But that's it. It's like if you're in a choir loft or if you're in a choir area like that's separate from the sanctuary, you could have a sanctuary division and a choir division. And that's it.
Oh, this is interesting. This is great.
It's fascinating.
And down here, you had the pedals, but then there's also these.
So this is a duplicate if your fingers are busy. So I was showing you how I can, here, I'll do it again. So this is basically, if I gotta turn it on. So if I'm holding this, I can go to add more instruments to my orchestra, right? So, but also I could do it with my feet. If your hands are too busy, you have two options. But sometimes your feet are too busy. Oops. Sometimes your feet are too busy and you need to use your hands. So I have two options available to me. For people who are playing like really serious literature. And you know what? Since we're doing this, I might as well show a fun literature thing if I can find the book. Yes.
Chance to really see this.
Alright, so I haven't played this in a while because I haven't had an opportunity. So, it's not going to be perfect, but this is a fun thing. Oh, that's the one I'm learning. We're not going to do that one. We'll do the one I already know. How about that? So it says even in the music, it says manual. So that's telling you which keyboard you're using. So on the organ music, it's literally 3 lines of music. So one for each hand and then one for the pedal.
And like we just did in the concert, you sing as well. So you're looking at the words and 3 different bars?
Yes, 3 different lines of music. And so thankfully though, when I'm doing this, I'm not singing to it, but. So now I'm going up to the swell, which is enclosed, which has a softer sound. to manuals and pedals. I'm sorry, the grate and pedals.
It's amazing.
That's some fun organ stuff.
So the phrase "pull out all the stops."
Oh yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Mhm.
So the phrase "pull out all the stops" comes from the organ because these are stops. And if you pull them all out, it makes for a bigger sound. So again, watch as I go through, as I press these buttons and start with the softer sounds, see what the difference is in the stops and how many are out. So if there's just a few stops, it's not a loud sound.
And can you literally pull out all the stops?
So I was just wondering that. I was like, why don't I pull out all the stops? And it's a tuning issue because I remember I was saying that there are strings and flutes, which are the softer ones that play together when you have a softer sound. And then the louder sound, there's the reeds and the trumpets, and the strings are tuned slightly differently than, say, the reeds and the trumpets. And even the principal, like there's a principal stop. It's just slightly different tuning to achieve a slightly different effect. And so you don't literally pull out all the stops together. So the phrase, actually, I was thinking about it, it's an interesting phrase because it's actually something you don't do. But like, I'm going to pull out most of the stops.
Pull out most all the stops. Okay.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Oh, that was amazing. Beautiful instrument, and you play it incredibly well. You're very blessed.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm blessed to have the instrument and blessed to be at the parish.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you.